Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is day 46 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos focusing on gratitude and a little bit on my writing and other things that I am doing. So, yay, day 46. I'm seriously looking to 50 because that means I start counting down instead of up. So, yay. 4 more days and I could just be halfway done. I know it's silly, but I like the little milestones because they help me. So I'm grateful that I can do little milestones and be grateful because I can look back and see that I have done it this long. I have made it this far. And when I hit 50, I can be like, hey, I already did 50, so I can do 50 again. Piece of cake, right? Eventually, I might actually believe that. I'm sure once I have like thousands of YouTube videos, I'll just laugh at the fact that I thought doing 100 was going to be hard. But that's why we do this one day at a time, right? Everything is one day at a time. So I'm grateful for that. And I've been doing a little bit of writing. I wish it was on my fantasy fiction book that I need to rewrite, or that I had some responses back from beta readers. Like to say I'm getting a little impatient with that, but that new idea, my bishop wanted me to write a book, and I started it last night. I was working and had a bunch of ideas pop into my head, and I came home and I tried to do it according to the little outline ideas in my head, and I just kind of had to laugh afterwards because honestly, I don't know why I try to do outlines, because I don't follow outlines. I don't do outlines. Outlines don't make sense to me. Like, I kind of know the gist of the book, and I get that you're supposed to do an outline because it's supposed to keep you on track so you don't ramble. I ramble. I'm sorry. That's who I am. It's also supposed to keep your papers and things organized, and it's supposed to make sure that you cover everything that you wanted to cover because you put it in the outline. But me, I find more stuff pops up or things come out in a different order than I initially thought in the outline, and it works better that way. And so last night I just had my focus on one particular thing, and I thought I could just focus on this, and then these are just different types of this, and then I can write my experiences based on each type of these things, and we're good, because I really didn't want to get personal. And I really don't want to share my story with the entire world. I've shared it with a few people in my life, and obviously with my counselor and my bishop and people from 12-step programs. So it's not like I haven't shared parts of my life with people. I've just never actually written it down for other people to read. I'm going to say I haven't written it down, but I've journaled most of my life, and I have over 70. I think the last time I counted, I had 76 journals, and I'm pretty sure I filled up 5 or 6 more since then. So I have written down a lot of things that have happened in my life, but I also know I can't read my handwriting, so it's kind of pointless to go back and try to read through all of those. And I can't even imagine how many months or years it would take me to try to go back and type up or decipher everything that I wrote in all of my journals. That would be a monumental task that I may or may not ever undertake in this lifetime. That said, I just felt like I had to start writing last night. So I wrote an entire page or page and a half or whatever of my little introduction of my book and what it was going to be. And by the time I was done last night, I deleted all of that. So introduction is totally gone, because I got to the section I wanted to, and I had these different thoughts that popped into my head, and I just started typing. And it started flowing really well for about a chapter and a half. And then, I don't know, I liked what I titled the second chapter, but then my story started going, or my thoughts started going somewhere different. So I got halfway through, focused on the title of the chapter, the subject, I guess, heading. I'm looking at rather a title, chapter heading is more like a subject for me for this particular book, just kind of a subject heading, like what the chapter is going to be about. So I'm not going to do any spoiler alerts. I could, but I'm not going to. I don't even remember what I titled the second chapter. I just know that I was really tired and I was getting halfway through and my mind started talking about a completely different subject. So I was typing that up and I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense with what I did. But then I thought it was flowing, and so then I was confused, and then I was like, I'm too tired to think. So I put it away and I went to bed. Good for me. Yay. So today I get up and I try to do other things besides working on that book. And I started trying to read my scriptures and meditationals. And do you think I could do that? That's what I do every day. And then plan my day and then make my YouTube video and then go to work. Do whatever else I need to do. This is my thing that I'm trying to get in the habit of doing. To feel the spirit, to get that gratitude boost, to have my whole day. No. The entire time I'm reading my scriptures and meditationals, I am being bombarded with memories and thoughts and crying. I hate crying, just so you know. I hate crying. I always felt like crying was bad, and I know it isn't, but, I still don't like crying. So here I am crying, and it wasn't necessarily a bad crying. It was seeing God's hand in my life, because that is what I titled my book, is recognizing God's hand in my life. So I don't know if there's any other books out there with that title. My mentor said that titles aren't copyrighted, so I could use whatever title anyway. Hope it's not already out there, because I don't want it to be confused with something else. But and I know the title's flexible. It can change. It can whatever, depending on how the book finally looks when it's done. Anyway, so I struggled with that. I didn't want to do it. I did a whole bunch of crying and all of that fun, fabulous stuff. Made myself get through my scriptures and meditationals. I'm like, I'm gonna do this first. And then I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, God, can you just make this stop? I was like, nope, not gonna stop until you do it. I was like, oh, I can't spend my entire day this way. So I did sit down and I typed up, I think it's 2.5, 3 pages, but this of course is, the Times New Roman, whatever. I think it's double space, might be single space. I think I do everything single space. So 2.5 single space, and I don't know when that equates to a book. You treat the page sizes or whatever, then it actually would be more pages than that. But nonetheless, that's what that's what it is right now. It doesn't matter when I get to the formatting and publishing part of it. We'll figure that out. I'm not done with the writing part of it. But I did write it. I now have a total of 10 pages that I have written for this new book as of last night and today. So not at all what I was thinking I was going to be doing. So once again, it is that reminder that the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. And it's also a reminder that God has a plan for me, and he has a purpose for these gifts that he's given me. And now he's asking me to use them. And I don't want to. I don't know if anybody else struggles with that whole internal conflict, or, just telling God, I'm like, are you sure? Because I really don't want to do this. Because it is very emotional for me. It is very personal. I have a very personal relationship with my Savior. And I've had a lot of experiences that have got me through a lot of the horrible times in my life, which is how I knew what I needed to do after my divorce. I just chose not to because I was pissed. Because it wasn't supposed to work out that way. And I wanted God to take away my ex's agency, and he wasn't going to do it. And I was pissed. But it didn't change the facts that I knew that God was there. It didn't change the fact that I knew that he loved me, that he kept sending people into my life to remind me of that I have been blessed in countless ways throughout my life, that I can't deny his existence. I can't deny his help. And I know that the only way to get help and healing is through the Savior. And I know that. So this is not a new thing for me to know, but to share in detail. And that's a lot of detail. I mean, 10 pages, I give a talk, and it's, 4 or 5 pages to give a talk in church, like a 5 or 10 minute talk. And I shared some things in talks, and I've shared some things in testimonies, but it's never been this is my life experiences with God's hand in my life, and ending with, I know he's going to continue to be there the rest of my life, and I look forward to way more experiences. And that also means that there may be way more trauma too. But not everything that's happened or everything that he's blessed me with has been trauma, but it's just given me a positive side of things, and a positive side that I have lost sight of, which I realized when I was doing some writing last night, that I actually was blessed and comforted even as a child, and didn't realize that I was being comforted, that I had knowledge that others did not have. So I was blessed, and I have been continued to be blessed in my life in spite of all of the bad things that I think have happened, and realizing that maybe some of those things that I deemed as bad, like crying, aren't necessarily bad. They're just part of life, like dying is part of life. People die. And it sucks for us, but it's nice for them. So I'm having a new outlook on all of these things, and I'm hoping that it's going to be healing experience. It's definitely going to bring up a lot of stuff. Like I said, I need to dig up stuff and kill the emotions so that they can't hurt me anymore and let them all go. And maybe doing this book is kind of a way to do some of that. Maybe not all of that, but some of that. So I am expressing some things in this book that I have not expressed or shared before. So it's kind of scary for me. And I kind of, again, still prefer the fantasy version of my life because I can control that one, and because it still has a little bit of out of body experience where it happened to somebody else and not to me, right? So I don't have to feel it. But that's not how it works. That's not how God works. That's not how the healing process works. And I was kind of hoping if I had to deal with all the emotional stuff, I could do it with my counselor, with my bishop, with my sponsors in my 12-step programs, and not in YouTube videos and not in a book to share with the public. So apparently I don't get to do things the way that I want to do them. But it is definitely what my sponsor once said, an opportunity for growth. Yay, I get to do some more growing. I get to do some more learning. I get to do some more sharing. And I'm grateful that I can say I get to do it instead of I have to do it, because I do have a choice. And I'm grateful that I have a choice. But I've also learned that if I don't do it, that, it will continue to eat away at me until I do, or that I will lose that spirit and I will lose that connection that I have been trying to rebuild. And then all of this healing and all of this work that I've been doing will disappear, just like muscles, atrophy when you don't exercise. Those will all go away, and I will go back into my scary, sad state of depression, which, God willing, I will never get that deep into depression again, which is another reason why I am doing all of these things, because I don't ever want to be so depressed that I can't leave my house for like a week or two at a time, that I just refuse to talk to people, that I just can't get out of bed. And I know I still struggle with that, but not every day. And right now I have positive things to look forward to work on, to do. So no, things still aren't necessarily the way that I want them to be in my life, but I have things that I can do, that I can focus on, and it doesn't make the other things go away, but it makes me feel like I still have some kind of a purpose in my life, and I still feel blessed, and I can see God's hand in my life, and I can be grateful for what I have, and grateful for the analogy my bishop was pointing out to me. He's talking about a car going down a dirt road, and over time you get all those little ruts, and the car just kind of drives itself down the little ruts, and our brain is like that, and you train it to go to the negative thought, to the negative memory, to the depression, and that's right where it goes. But eventually, you can steer out of it. It's going to be really hard at first, really hard to get it back up on solid ground. But if you keep driving down the same path, it will eventually dig new ruts, and your car will go down the new ruts. So I don't know if it's better to just, keep driving in a different spot all the time to keep it kind of leveled out and even, or if it is meant to have that pattern in those ruts. And if so, I need to change it from negative patterns to positive patterns, which is what doing this gratitude list is for. And maybe that's why it's supposed to be for 100 days, because maybe it takes that long to completely change that thought process so it doesn't keep going back to the negative, so that my default settings will be rewritten to something positive, to something to be grateful for, or if nothing else, to turn to prayer, to ask God to help me through whatever it is that I'm dealing with. And oftentimes I've already done that in my life. I don't always do that, but I do have some positive default settings. I just need to make a lot more positive default settings for my brain. And hopefully, I don't know that I can ever erase the old ones, but hopefully I don't visit them very much and they get old and dusty and forgotten. That would be fantastic. But I know in times of trial and trauma and things like that, that those are going to be the first things to pop up, and I will have to continue to remind myself that there is another choice. I don't have to go down that road again. So that's what I'm learning how to do, and I hope that this is helpful to you, and that you can learn from what I'm doing, and maybe find your own new path of positivity, of gratitude. Find and develop your relationship with your higher power, and realize that He's there to bless you and guide you and to help your life be more fulfilling and feel like you're loved and have purpose. And I think we're all meant to feel loved and have purpose in this life. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the purpose that I seem to have in writing, and that I can use my writing for good and to benefit other people. It's just going to be a bit of a struggle to get myself to do it, because again, it means opening up and sharing who I am, but it also is teaching me that I'm not the scary, horrible person or unlovable person that for some reason I think that I am. And I've kind of opened up and explored myself before, and I'm like, I'm not really scary, I'm not horrible, I'm this nice person. But then I always wonder, well, what's wrong with me? If I'm this nice person, why does nobody love me? Why does nobody want me? And that's not the right question. Those are not even the right things. Those aren't even true things. People do love me. People do want me. I am needed. I am cared for. I just keep trying to get that love and attention and affection from people that are unable to give it to me, because they're unable to give it to themselves, because they have addictions, because they've been abused, because they're not capable of taking care of themselves, so they can't take care of me, and they're doing the best they can, but they really have no idea what they're doing. And maybe they didn't have the help and support that I have. And so I have been blessed with a lot of things that maybe not everyone else does. And so it's teaching me a lot of compassion, and it's teaching me to change my focus and to realize that if I can't get what I need from one person, I can find someone else. And God is always there to give me what I need when I can't find another person to fill that void. And He is always capable of filling that void in some way or another. And He's shown that to me on multiple occasions in my life, which I am extremely grateful for. So I getting emotional again, and I'm kind of tired of crying, and I have other things to do today. So I'm grateful that I can at least share all of this, and I'm grateful that I've started another book, which I don't think is going to take me that long to write, because I will probably be writing at least a chapter a day just so I can get it out of my system, because that's the only way it will go away. And I know that sounds horrible, but that's, for me, that's how that works sometimes. And I think God knows how I work, and He knows that if He just puts that in there and bugs me with it, and I'm uncomfortable with it, then I will do whatever I can to get rid of it. And if I can't ignore it to make it go away, then I will just do it to make it go away. And in this case, I will do it to make it go away. And then the scary part will be to actually share it once it's done. So not going to worry about the scary part right now. I'm just going to work on what I can do today. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I can start to just do things one day at a time, instead of having to figure out how it's all going to happen in the future, because I have no idea. And I'm okay with that right now, especially when it's something I don't really want to do, that I'm like, all right, I'm just going to take my sweet little time. And it's still going to get done faster than my other books have done, because maybe this is what I've been avoiding doing that's needed to be done. And maybe when I finish this, it will open up the way for me to finish the other stories that I want to write. So, here's hoping that works, and I hope you all have a great day full of gratitude. Thank you.